Middle Passage, white people. Slavery, white people. Jim Crow, white people. Lynchings, white people. Trail of Tears, white people. Wounded Knee, white people. Asian internment camps, white people. The vast majority of gun violence, white people. You see a trend? January 6th, white people. Ahmaud Arbery, 3 white guys. George Floyd, white guys. The felon in the White House, a white man. You see a trend? But somehow, the white man has convinced stupid, uneducated, trailer park trash, 3-teeth inbreds, white supremacists, Triple K members, that the brown people picking your almonds and your walnuts and your lettuce and your avocados, somehow they're the fucking problem. They're not. We are. And until we...
Why is it that when we speak up, we're aggressive, but when we stay quiet, we're intimidating? Make it make sense. Because it seems like no matter what we do, it feels like Black women can't win in these workplaces. If we assert ourselves, we're too much. If we don't, we're not a team player. And the worst part, this double standard is negatively impacting us. It's keeping many of us stuck, exhausted, and constantly second guessing ourselves. Listen closely. You and your voice are not the problem. Their discomfort is. I personally I'm tired of trying to make other people feel comfortable. If my confidence and audacity makes you feel uncomfortable, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem.
Black Americans do have the right to say that we're minding our own business. Black Americans have done enough. Okay? Black Americans don't have to be the voice for every single group and every other person. And Black Americans are allowed to be tired, to be like, you know what, y'all figure it out. We told y'all what to do. You didn't want to listen, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
It seems like when you're the quiet Black girl or woman in the workplace, that you would think it would be peaceful and you would be under the radar. But unprovokingly, you trigger people who are bothered by your quietness. And like I said, it's even more of a struggle when you're a Black girl or woman in the work environment, especially in a corporate environment or any work environment. Because when we're quiet, it causes people to really feel the need to do research and study us and investigate. It triggers them to want to learn more about us and try to understand why are we so quiet. It seems as if we can't be quiet in peace because it comes off as if we're not a team player, or as if we're being passive or dismissive and we have a bad attitude because we're quiet. It's not looked at as we're just peaceful. It's not looked at as we're just very serious about our work and we just want to get in, do our jobs, and go home. It's not looked at as maybe we have social anxiety and we do better in more of a peaceful or solo setting. No, we can't be quiet in peace, because it seems as though it sets us up for sabotage. Because we're quiet, it triggers people who feel rejected by us because we're not kissing up to them, or we're not trying to be friendly with them or make friends with them. We keep it professional, we keep it cordial. But like I said, it's not good enough for someone who feels rejected.
Black people are still resting, and they're gonna be resting for quite some time, okay? Because I don't think y'all understand the severity. Like, I think that there's some people out here that think that Black people are playing and that we'll eventually get over this and we'll get back to work. No. We will get back to work in our community. Black Americans will be okay because we've put in the work. It's the rest of the people of color groups that have not put in the work because they came to this country with rights that Black Americans fought and bled and died for. So when Black people say that we are resting, that is what we mean.
So white people will never leave Black people alone, and I'm going to tell you why. White society's obsession with Black people isn't new. It's centuries old. If you think about slavery, colonialism, and exploitation, from the start, white wealth in America was built off the backs of Black bodies. Sugar, cotton, tobacco, rice. This wasn't just economics. It was a system where white people's very identity was shaped around controlling and owning and watching Black bodies. But here's the wild contradiction in all of this, right? While trying to dehumanize us, white culture has always been obsessed with us, right? They copied our music, our style, our language, our food, even our rhythm, all while denying us basic rights. Think about jazz and rock and hip hop and fashion, all born out of black genius, only to be taken, watered down, and sold back to the world with a white face on it. So why can't they just stay away? Because in a system that is built both on exploitation and envy, distance is impossible. White supremacy depends on keeping black people in place, close enough to use, control, or imitate, but never free enough to threaten the hierarchy. It's a sick paradox, fear and fascination at the same damn time. On a psychological level, it's projection. White folks will project their guilt, their fear, and their insecurities onto blackness, and then turn around and crave the very life, culture, and resilience they tried to destroy. It's like they want the sauce, but not the struggle. Now, to be real, not every white person acts like this, but the system, the way whiteness has defined itself against blackness, makes it so this obsession keeps resurfacing. Whether it's over policing or culture appropriation or trying to legislate our lives, it always comes back to the old need to dominate mixed with a quiet desire to be what they can't.
Black people as a whole, we are tightening up our ship. Black people as a whole, we are building community amongst each other. Everything else around us is just a distraction at this point because we warned, we shared information, infographics, data, and statistics of what might happen. And clearly, people did not believe that fat meat is greasy.
So I'm going to tell you what's going on in America right now, but most of y'all are not going to like this. We are literally in a let my people go moment. Moses versus Pharaoh. I'm talking about plagues and all. Because after 400 years of oppression and marginalization, the black community rose up in 2020 to demand justice from Pharaoh. It came with a plague called COVID that left over 1 million people dead. Still, we did not listen. Instead, we hardened our hearts. So more plagues have followed. The second plague was the big lie, the loss of truth. The third plague was January 6th, the loss of the rule of law. The fourth plague, the plague of tariffs, the loss of economic stability. And the fifth plague, the plague of ICE raids, the loss of human dignity and decency. Our economy is shrinking, our global standing in the world is diminishing, our rights are being eroded every single day, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse until we listen to the voice of the black community calling for justice. Let my people go. And remember, those people didn't go away empty-handed. The Bible says they plundered the Egyptians, asking for silver and gold. So don't forget, the wealth transfer is part of the deal.
I want to get this off my chest this morning with MAGA. Do you know why they're like this? Because they're ignorant. They live in rural America. I have family that live in Kansas and Indiana, and you know what? They're the most uneducated, victimhood people that you've ever met in your life. They grow up in these bubbles of white America, and they're told since they're born that you're the greatest, you're the best, freedom, bald eagles, America flags, pew, 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 pew. You are the best, you're the apex predator. Look at the founding fathers. Yeah, they owned slaves. Yeah, that was a little bad. Yeah, only white men had rights. Yeah, black people were 3/5 of a person, but America's great. It was founded on Christian, godly principles. Sure, black people couldn't vote until the 1960s. Sure, women didn't have rights until the 1900s, but it's great. You're the best. Out of all the planets in the universe, this piece of land was given to you by God himself. Jesus Christ has blessed you with this. And what's happening is these people, it's part of their DNA. That's all they know. And when they're exposed to something like equality or gay people or trans people or anything that is not a straight white Christian America, it breaks their brains. Because they've been indoctrinated since they were little with this white nationalism. My dad was the same way. That's how he grew up. He used racial slurs all the time. But this is what we're dealing with. So when you confront them with facts, it literally, you're trying to get through decades and decades of ignorance and indoctrination, right? Oh, the truth. They're the only people that know the truth. Them. They're the only ones. January 6th. Oh, that was peaceful. But keying a Tesla, that makes you a domestic terrorist. Pardoning the January 6th, they're patriots. But Colin Kaepernick taking a knee and disrespecting the flag that I've been told to worship like Jesus, he's a son of a bitch. Because America, as it has progressed and when it had Barack Obama, they're threatened by their white supremacy, by their white patriarchy being taken away. Because they think that somehow their worldview is just being obliterated. And they just can't see outside of their own ignorance. And the moment they get a little bit of inconvenience, what do? They storm the Capitol and they beat police officers. They make threats to judges. They make racial slurs. They call people names. How do you think black people felt since the inception of this country? Being held as slaves. But you lost an election. And you didn't know how to handle it, so you lost your shit and you drug officers down the steps and you beat them with fire extinguishers and you praised them. Patriots, 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 freedom, freedom, bald eagles, American flags, woohoo! That's why we're here, America. Because that's what you're dealing with. Decades and decades of indoctrination and ignorance. You're not going to fix everybody. You can't save everybody. But it's interesting, MAGA, that you have got a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be a black person in this country. And instead of taking 3 seconds with what little brain cells you have and saying, you know what? I was wrong. I was ignorant. I never looked at it from that point of view. No, you doubled and tripled and quadrupled down. And you have to be the goddamn victim every time with your white victim card. Somehow the world revolves around you. And that's why we're here. Because the world doesn't revolve around you. But it has revolved around people that look like me since this country was started. And the reason we're here is because more people that look like me haven't made videos like this. That's why we're here. And in my last video, I'm going to say it again. For Kamala Harris, leave her the hell alone. Get her name out your mouth. This country said, nah, we good. We gonna take the white supremacist. We gonna maintain the patriarchy. I hope she's having a goddamn margarita. I hope she's on vacation, going on the Incredicoaster at Disneyland 4 times a day. She ain't here. You could have chosen to save this country, but you didn't. You chose to save the patriarchy. That's on you. You leave her the hell alone. She did what she had to do, and you said, no, we good. But that's why we're here, America. Is because of this mentality. And I have people that are in the Midwest. Trust me, you are never going to get through some of them. Decades and decades and decades of white indoctrination. They will never discuss the 3/5 clause. They will never discuss slavery. They will never discuss Black Wall Street. They will never discuss the genocide of Native Americans. They don't even want to talk about Black History Month. Why? Because it takes the focus off of them. Because this country has put the white person at the center of the universe since they were born in a lot of these red states. And then they vote for Republicans to own the libs so they can maintain the white patriarchy. And then they're on SNAP benefits, they're on food benefits, they're barely making it by, but they keep voting against their own best interest. And what happens? Those politicians say, nope, it's not my fault that you're here. It's not my fault that you voted for me. And we're last in education, lowest in wages. It's the libs. They're your enemy. That's why we're here. And finally, some of you are feeling a little bit of pain from that. But don't kid yourself. They will vote for Republican again. But that's why we're here, America. That's just the hard, cold truth. And at some point, we have to decide, do we want to keep fighting this white patriarchy? Do we want to keep fighting this political civil war? Do we want to have actual change? Or do we want to just secede from the states and say, you know what? Y'all want to own the libs? Then go do it. Go start the Confederacy again. Go bring Robert E. Lee from the grave and put him up on a pedestal, because that seems what some of you people want. You seem to just want to live in the Confederacy. Then have at it. But don't drag down the good people in your states with you because of your ignorance.
Have a good day.
Black people have lived in a certain Black Americans, the descendants of the enslaved, have lived on this stolen land for quite some time, and we understand patterns. We understand when the shift in the atmosphere changes, and we move accordingly. And what we're seeing is we have conditioned ourselves to do that. We have conditioned ourselves to pivot when the temperature changes. And a lot of people now are seeing the temperature change, not just feel it, but see it in real time, and they don't know how to react, and they don't know how to deal. So anybody that is getting on this app trying to tell Black women to do anything, trying to tell the 80% of Black American men to do anything right now other than do what we've been doing the past 10, 11, almost 12 months, you're part of the problem, not the solution. I hate to say it, but some of us ain't gonna make it because we too busy trying to argue with stupid.
Don't nothing make a racist person more nervous and uncomfortable than a Black person that's too quiet or that's not friendly. Even little stuff like if you're not smiling, they say little slick stuff like smile. You know what I'm saying? And I done told y'all before about an old job I had years back. I got pulled into the office one time and I'm thinking something wrong, and they end up telling me, oh, you know, nothing's wrong. You're doing a great job. You're not talkative. You know, is everything okay? And that's more of a, I'm afraid type of thing. And the reason behind this, these folks are very hateful. They're very conniving. They're very sneaky, and they constantly got this paranoia that this karma of what they put out is going to come back on them. So every Black person that they can't read, because they always trying to read us and get to know how they can play with us and deal with us, and we don't give them that, they get uncomfortable because now is this my karma that I'm worried about? Is this person going to try to do something hateful to me the way that I do hateful stuff? You get what I'm saying? And so that's what you come across a lot of the times. We not hateful or nothing like that. We just trying to avoid all the bullshit. We know these games they're trying to play, and we just want to be left alone. But with them, it's all in their head now, because it's like, this Black person must know what I'm really about. They might want to hurt me. They might want to do the hateful shit that I'll do to people. You know what I'm saying?
As I am. So there was something over the weekend that I thought everybody was very well aware of, but I'm understanding that that's not the case. I was talking to my mom today, and she and my brother went to a protest on April 5th. To protest Trump and all of the things that have been happening for the last couple of months. So she was telling me about her experience, and she said it was like a love fest. It was so nice to be with all of these people, thousands of people, and everybody signs and all this stuff. And I said to her, did you notice that there weren't many Black people there, if any? And she was like, yeah, actually, I did notice, and I was confused, and I was like, I thought Black people were really upset about him too, and I didn't understand. This is my mom talking. So I explained to her that 92% of Black women and 80% of Black men did what they were supposed to do back on November 5th, and they are now resting, and they are not participating in these here protests. And that there was a concerted effort for Black folks to stay home yesterday on April 5th. And to be honest, I think she's still confused about the why. But I'm working on that. But do yourself a favor and follow Black content creators here on TikTok, because you will learn so much, and you will be able to use your new knowledge to help educate the people that you are in proximity with. But yeah, wait, folks, if you didn't know, Black folks said we're not marching on April 5th. We're not doing it. We're going to stay home. We're going to let white people get us out of this mess, because white people got us into this mess. The more you.
Welcome back to the channel. In recent years, many people have noticed changes in who is speaking up, how issues are being discussed, and where those conversations are taking place. Some argue that certain voices have become less prominent in mainstream spaces while finding new platforms elsewhere. Others believe the conversation has not disappeared at all. It has simply evolved. At the same time, Debates around race, identity, and representation continue to spark strong reaction across the country. For some, these changes create uncertainty about where society is heading. For others, they are part of a broader transformation in how people engage with politics, culture, and one another. The real question is not just who is speaking, it's how those conversations are shaping the future of the society. Now, before we go further, I want to say a very big thanks to every one of you supporting this channel, whether you're streaming or you're watching from Europe, Africa, all over the world. You guys are the real FMP. Thank you for watching and thank you. We really appreciate it. Now, I want to hear from you. I need your opinion and I need your perspective. Do you think public conversation about race and identity are becoming more productive or are more simply choosing different space to express their view? Share your perspective in the comments below and let's keep the discussion respectful and constructive. Thank you.